So is the Russia-Ukraine war going to end soon? Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky is scheduled to hold talks with the American President Donald Trump on Sunday. And this is to negotiate peace terms as the US is working to broker a deal to end the war. But almost on the eve of these talks, both Kiev and Moscow seem to have made statements of another kind. Now, Ukraine claims to have hit a Russian oil refinery in the country's southern Rostov region. The attack took place on the eve of Christmas, and Ukraine said that it targeted crucial Russian refineries with the UK's supplied Storm Shadow missiles. The British cruise missiles reportedly caused numerous explosions at the Russian refinery. The attack seems to suggest that Ukraine will keep targeting critical Russian infrastructure till the last moment. Meanwhile, the Russians have made their own statement on Friday.
Some funds will also be used to produce our highly competitive weapons and military equipment for export. We have a large number of purchase requests. Of course, we have to prioritize the needs of the Russian Defense Ministry and somewhat delay our plans for deliveries or arms to friendly countries, but this time is not far off, so we will surely boost our military and technical cooperation.
And Russia's first deputy prime minister has said that the country is in fact planning to somewhat delay the arms exports because Moscow wants to prioritize the needs of its own soldiers. And that statement was followed by a declaration from the Russian President Vladimir Putin.
In 2025, as compared with 2022, production of the most demanded weapons for the special military operation increased several times. Missile and artillery weapons increased by 9.6 times, communication and electronic warfare equipment by 12.5 times, means of personal body armor, by 17.9 times, conventional means of destruction and ammunition, more than by 22 times. These are the results of the military industry's work.
So Putin has said that Russia's defense production has in fact increased several times since the Ukraine war began, but despite his claims of 10 to 20-fold increase, Moscow still plans to delay the arms exports. Now, this has been the norm since 2022. Russia's arms exports in 2023 and 2024 were roughly 47% lower than what they were in 2022. Now, between the years 2020 and 2024, Russia's weapon exports have witnessed a 63% drop compared to the years 2015 till 2019. Now, Russia's exports have been going down for years, even before the Ukraine war began in 2022. Now, does Moscow's latest announcement of delays mean that it doesn't think this war will wind down anytime soon? Or is this more a message to Ukraine and also its Western allies that Russia is prepared for the long haul? All right, now joining us all the way from Washington, D.C., we've got Dr. Charles Kupchan, who's a senior fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations. Dr. Kupchan, thank you very much indeed for joining us here on WION. Now, the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will be meeting with Donald Trump again. Do you think this meeting can potentially bring to an end this bruising war in Ukraine? Because Donald Trump, with the statements that he has made, it appears, is agreeing on most of Vladimir Putin's maximalist position. Do you think common ground can be found between Donald Trump and Zelensky to agree on a ceasefire?
Well, I think some progress has been made. The 20-point peace plan that the Ukrainians are now putting on the table is much better than the 28-point peace plan originally negotiated between the United States and Russia. And I do think that Zelensky and Trump are coming closer together. The issue of some kind of land swap, land movement is now under discussion. The Ukrainians have said, we'll withdraw from parts of Donbass. Russia will withdraw from parts of Donbass, a free economic zone. But the key question is not do Trump and Zelensky agree, it's whether Zelensky and Putin agree. And I do think that even though some progress has been made, even though the conversations are taking place, we are not yet at a point where we can see a light at the end of the tunnel.
Interesting. You say that we still can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. The reason why Zelensky and Trump need to agree is because it appears that Donald Trump seems to be agreeing almost completely with Vladimir Putin on his maximalist positions. Now, the Russian position is pretty interesting. The Russians say that they are increasing their defense production. If this war were to be coming to an end, why do you think the Russians would be increasing their defense production?
Well, as you covered in your report, the Russian export of arms already declined very significantly over the past several years because of the insatiable demand of Russia's forces in Ukraine. And so this isn't a very big deal. And as a consequence, I think what the Russians are doing here is trying to send two messages. One, we are prepared to fight a long war, and that's why we're going to keep our weapons for use by our own army. And secondly, I think the Russians are basically trying to turn up the heat at the negotiating table, to say to the Ukrainians, we're ready to keep fighting. You guys need to understand that. You guys need to get ready to make concessions at the negotiating table that we can live with, because otherwise this war is just going to burn on and on.
Interesting. Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Kipchen, for joining us with that perspective there. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.